All right, Stephen. So, Ambassadorship. You're one of our first ambassadors,
Mhm.
San Diego original,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And we want some feedback from you. Like, what did that otherwise require in terms of your time, and like, what did you get out of it, and so on, right? And so that's kind of the spirit of this video. Um, First off, I think this is what's most valuable to all of us, especially in your role,
Mhm.
always maxed out. Time requirements. What are we looking at per quarter? What's that mean for you?
Well, per quarter is not bad. I think it's more the build-up, collaboration for probably the week or two, leading up to it. I think is the most important. Making sure that you have that time set apart. Not too much resources. It's just more the time being able to have that flexibility in your schedule that you can move some things around and have time to actually work on it and understand what you're talking about before you go in and just start flapping your gums.
Got it. Yeah, that's bad. So when you say collaboration, what does that mean? Like if you're an ambassador, you're thinking about being an ambassador and you're up in the East Bay or in Anaheim, what is that? What does that mean, that collaboration? What's that process look like?
So I think the collaboration is it's tough to know how other people are doing things. So we're all trying to get on the same page. So I think for this type of forum, I think it's the presenting, hey, here's how my company would run this thing, and I think that I've kind of used you as the sounding board for, hey, here's what I would say about this particular subject in this particular order, and there's always something that you'd come back and be like, well, what about this, or what about looking at it from this different angle? That's kind of helped expand how I view Xactimate and how we use that as a tool, because if you just in your own box and you were trained by a guy who's been doing this for 15 years and he's never changed anything, you obviously are limiting yourself with a program that's very adaptable.
If you dive deep, man.
Yeah, you don't want to get too deep.
There's a lot going on. I know. Sometimes I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
This is too deep. And Xactimate. Christian Brothers, right? What's their take on it? What was their take on it initially? What's their take on it a year later? Right? Like, was Gabe really keen on it initially? Was he dubious? What happened? What was that experience look like?
No, I think it was. I think it was always positive. We've obviously known you for quite some time working in the industry. I think they were excited just for me to expand and just something beyond our own company, outside of our doors. We've always wanted to be a bigger presence in our community, as our thumbprint's growing. So I think I don't think it was ever negative. If anything, I think it's just. I think Gabe came to our last meeting, and he was,
That
just,
was cool.
yeah, just being able to see, he's like, this is a guy that he started from the bottom. I was doing water damages, hutting, wet carpet and extracting, tearing out drywall, and 5 years later, I'm up in front of 30, 40 people telling them,
Is that
how
where you started?
Yeah.
You were hucking drywall?
Oh, yeah, man. I was a water technician, full on, started at the bottom, worked my way up.
Dude, you're a really talented estimator to start there. I didn't no idea. I
Yep.
didn't know that until just now. So if you had one piece of advice for ambassador that was thinking about becoming an ambassador or otherwise was an ambassador, what would it be?
I'd say
You're
keep,
the OG. Man.
Yeah. I'd say keep an open mind. I don't think you can really take away the full effect from this forum unless you have an open mind, unless you're willing to learn and push boundaries that before you didn't even know were there. Because I think you can definitely get stuck in a rut like anything in life, and I think it's important to keep that open mind to where you can see things from different perspectives.
So if you were to distill it down to the very most basic sense of, has the ambassadorship given more to you, given more to Christian Brothers than it's taken away, where would you come down on that?
Oh yeah, I would say definitely. Even just in not just the knowledge, the trips and the tips and tricks, of showing us the different aspects that we would have never known unless you really you go to a class or you go to some training that is just like, oh, you touch this little button underneath this scroll bar and it does this. I mean, not just that, but I think in the conversation, other people who've been in the industry. I mean, shoot, some guys 20, 30 years, you put all that experience together in one room, we've got hundreds of years of experience. That's kind of crazy to think about, that we've got all these different people and they all look at jobs a little differently. So not only are people doing their dryouts a little differently, but they're writing stuff a little bit differently. So kind of, congealing that and getting to where we all kind of see, we're kind of all shooting in the same direction, I think was something big for us.
As it relates to the adjusters, right? A lot of adjusters showing up nowadays to our San Diego original chapter. Have you had any experience like working with some of those individuals and maybe your experience, you think, was informed by the fact that you are an ambassador and you have a voice for San Diego region? Have you had that experience?
Yeah, definitely. I think the adjusters is a huge portion of it. I think that adds a real layer of depth to the forum because it allows to see from their perspective. Because how many times have you sent an estimate and if a certain adjuster and he's going to have issues about this, and the other thing on your estimate. One goal for Christian Brothers is we want to send our estimates in. We want the company to be like, oh, this is an estimate from Christian Brothers. We're not going to have any problems here. Sign it off and push it right along. Right. We don't want to have to be waiting 90 days every single time for payment. So I think the closer we can get to synthesizing down what they're looking for, I think helps us.
Stephen, most sincere thank you, dude.
Indeed.
You've been
Indeed,
a great
sir.
addition to the San Diego chapter. We really appreciate it and look forward to keep knocking these things out, man.
Yeah.
As for now, we're out. Take care, guys. Be good.